to truma, person has to, even if he goes to the mikveh, you have to wait till nightfall. So we said, in terms of for Ma'aser Sheni, even if a person did not wait for nightfall, just going to the mikveh is sufficient to eat Ma'aser Sheni. For truma, you have to wait till nightfall. What about if a woman had given birth? So the Torah tells us that she's contaminated for 7 days if she gives birth to a male. 33 days, although she's menstruating, she's permitted to her husband, but she's contaminated in terms of truma. She's not permitting truma. But when the 40 days are up, she goes to the mikvah on the 40th day, and the 40th night, the 41st night, she's permitted to eat truma. And then on the 41st in the morning, she brings a korban, then she's permitted to eat kachim. But until she brings a korban, she's not permitted to be kachim. So yesterday, yeah, 30 on Torah level for 33 days. Although she's menstruating, she's permitted. She goes to the mikveh after 7 days. She's not tamei either. It's only her regarding eating truma. In terms of her relation with her husband, she's permitted to husband. Okay, but for kachim, even though she's permitted to eat truma on the 41st night, but she's not permitted to eat kachim until she brings a korban the 41st in the morning. Okay, that's we brought psukim to all this. That's what we discussed yesterday. Now we find 3 psukim in regard to truma. First, the 3 psukim. One pasuk is going to tell us that you have to wait till nightfall. Then another pasuk is going to tell us that even by yoledus, but a woman gives birth, because the Gemara says even when maybe you wait till nightfall, you're permitted. That's if you're not obligated to bring a korban, like a person comes in contact with a sheretz. But what happens if, let's say, a person has a flow, and he has 3 sidings, he has to bring a korban. So maybe then the only time he's permitted to eat truma is the same time when he's permitted to eat kachim. So we bring another pasuk. No, even when you have to bring a korban, you're still permitted to eat truma the night before. You don't have to wait till the daytime when you bring your korban. Okay, that's what the Gemara is going to discuss now. Utlosa kroy b'truma. We find 3 psukim, 3rd line, written by truma. 3 psukim. Lomali, what do we need? I mean, it's enough to say, nightfall comes, you eat. Eat truma. What do we need 3 psukim? Utzrichi. Di mi'ara she'yitoher. It says, you're not permitted truma until you become purified. Yitoher. Lavi yadana b'mai. Kos rachmana. To what degree? Is it the mikveh? Does the mikveh bring the tara? Kos rachmana uva shemesh v'torah. It's only when the sun fully sets, which is nightfall, that's when he's permitted to eat truma. Okay? Because rachmana uva shemesh, and if I only have the pasuk uva shemesh v'torah, it means when it's sun finally sets. That's the case where you don't have to bring a korban. Aval the bar kapora, but if you have to bring a korban, ema ad ma'aser kapora. So maybe you only permitted truma when you bring your kapora, which is the next day. Because rachmana ad malos. Torah says by the yoledes, when she completes her 40 days, which is already the 41st at night, she's permitted to eat truma. Because rachman ad malos, if that's the case, let the Torah just for ad malos. When the 40 days are up, the 41st night she's permitted to eat truma. Maybe she could eat truma because she already went to the mikveh to be permitted to husband when? After the 7 days, right? So maybe that tefillah is enough to eat truma, except she has to wait the full period of what? Of the 40 days. Because Rachmana ara sheyitor. No, she has to do the act of tara. She needs another act of tara. She has to go to the mikveh again. Okay, therefore I need 3 psukim to identify when a person's tummy can eat truma. An ordinary person eats truma, it says at sunset, it's easy. But what about a woman who is obligated, or a person who is obligated to bring a korban? I would think maybe that person, just this kachim, the korban cannot be brought till the next day. So what? Maybe truma cannot be eaten until the next day. So I'm supposed to say no. Even at nighttime, where the korban is not brought, the person can eat truma. Versus lachtana the polagalei the ton of Shmuel. Dom bezov balgimo rios umsar muchlat. We said earlier that the pasuk speaking about that it's regarding truma, a person who's had 2 sightings. A man who has two sightings, he's contaminated for 7 days, but he does not bring a korban. And also we said was speaking about a mitzvah was a muskar. I mean, he was quarantined because we're not sure was he a leper or not. Turned out he wasn't a leper. So we say when he comes out of quarantine, goes to the mikveh during the day, that night he can eat truma. But according to the opinion that the pasuk is speaking about, a person has 3 sightings. A man has 3 sightings. He has, not only is he contaminated 7 days, he has to bring a korban. A Metzora Muchlat means he was definitely classified as a leper. Not only does he have to go through the whole ritual and go to the mikveh, he has to bring a korban. So Mara says, the one who argues with Tanri Shmuel, the Oma Bezov Balgima Rios. The pasuk speaking at Azov, a person who had a flow who saw 3 sightings. Ube Metzora Muchlat, a Metzora that was definitely certified as a Metzora. Hakos Medabra, Hai Arashe Yitoyer. What does that mean? Until he's purified. Adamaisik Apora, Trey Kroy, Bekochim, what do we need to psukim? Right? We have, now seems to be one pasuk is extra. Because we're speaking about people who need a korban. Listen to this. Because we have 2 psukim. One pasuk is written by Yoledes, a woman who gave birth, and the other pasuk speaking by the Metzora. By the Metzora, or by the one who had... I would say the reason why that the Torah puts such an extended period of time she's not permitted. What happens if a woman gives birth to a female, to a girl? It says 14 days she's contaminated. That's 66 days she's permitted. And on the 81st day, then she can eat truma. Correct? So there's such an extensive period of truma. That's the reason why. But maybe Zav is different. Because Rachan Bezav, the Hutak Beklolo, Avayuletz, Emolo, you hear this? A Zav is tummy. A person has 3 sightings, he's tummy, correct? But a woman, the 33-day period, we say after 7 days, she's permitted to her husband. So maybe during that 33-day period, even though she's menstruating, we say, nevertheless, Torah permits it. Permits it. So I'd say, if it permits it to her husband, maybe she's permitted to eat Truma also. Tzricha, therefore, I need 2 psukim that what? No, that you have to wait for the mikvah on the 40th day, and she can only eat the Truma only the 41st night. Then it says, B'mayim yuvo, it says, after she's brought into water, the Tomei at Erev, Lomali, Omer Ebzera L'Negio. That's regarding Negio. The Tanya, V'tomei Yochel HaKol, Tam V'tor, V'tor Yochel HaKol, Tam V'tomei. What does this mean? Mikeitz, kan l'maaseh, kan l'truma. A person goes to the mikveh for Ma'aseh Sheni, right? No, nightfall didn't come. He can eat the Ma'aseh Sheni. What happens if a person goes to the mikveh, nightfall didn't come, and he touches the truma? That's called the tful yom. He invalidates the truma. The truma cannot be eaten. 1 second. We find a person like this. A person comes in contact with a sheretz. He cannot eat truma till the nighttime. So he'd say he's tomei. Right? It's tomei. But Torah says v'toher. He's pure, but it's understood he's pure. No, the answer is he only has a degree of tara. For Ma'aseh Sheni he could eat. For truma he cannot eat, and therefore if he touches the truma, he'll contaminate the truma. He'll invalidate it. That's what he says. Kan l'maser. If he goes to the mikveh, even though nightfall hasn't come, he's permitted to eat Ma'aseh Sheni. Even though Ma'aseh Sheni has kedusha, but the kedusha Ma'aseh Sheni is not the same as truma. Correct? When it says that if he touches it, he contaminates, that's speaking about the one who went to the mikveh, and he touches the truma before nightfall. Why don't we invert it? Maybe for eating truma, when you go to the mikveh, you can eat truma before nightfall. If a Ma'aseh Sheni, you have to wait till nightfall to eat truma. Okay? Versus mistabro. Hear this. Just as we're saying like this, we already cited psukim before. If you go to the mikveh, what's the halacha? You're permitted to eat Ma'aseh Sheni before nightfall. We said that multiple times. Truma, you have to wait till nightfall. Now, what about touching? We say if you touch Ma'aseh Sheni, you don't contaminate it. But if you touch Truma, although you went to the mikveh, he does invalidate it. Let's invert it. When he touches Ma'aseh Sheni during the daytime, he contaminates it. He invalidates it. When he touches the truma, he doesn't invalidate it. Right? That's the first question. Stavra. Yeah. Just as the achila of truma is more severe, you have to wait till nighttime, and and you can't eat it during the daytime. Identically, you could touch meiser, but you cannot touch truma. Hochanami chamirot negir the truma. We're more stringent regarding touching truma before nightfall. Negir the meiser. Ibo saying negir the truma hochanavka. It says in the pasuk. What does the pasuk say? Mikol. It says b'chol kodesh lo sigo. It says, in any kodesh you should not touch. Asor lo-ochel. Now, the question is, when it says lo-sigo, what does lo-sigo mean? You should not touch. This pasuk speaks about truma. Chol kodesh lo-sigo, asor lo-ochel. You hear this? That's a lav that if you're a tomei, you're not permitted to eat truma. Even though the Torah used the word tigo. Maybe when it says chol kodesh lo-sigo, it means touching. Which in the Giyah means, Talmud chol kodesh lo-sigo, ve'lamigdash lo-tovo. The Torah is juxtaposition. Here, that's very important. Touching truma to going to the Beis Hamikdash. What's the halacha if you're going to the Beis Hamikdash when you're contaminated? What's the liability? Koris. So we're saying the seriousness of touching truma when you're tamei is the equivalent of going to the Beis Hamikdash. When you touch truma, even if you're contaminated, you're not liable for koris. Right? So even though Torah uses the term tigo, b'chol kodesh lo tigo. So we're saying tigo means eating. It can't mean touching. Why can't it mean touching? Because we're equating it to going to the Beis Hamikdash. For touching truma, it's only a lav. It doesn't have the liability of koris. So evidently, what does kodesh lo tigo mean? It means eating truma in a contaminated state. That if your tummy eat truma, it has liability of misam de shamayim koris, similar to the Beis Hamikdash. Makish kodesh lemikdash. Mak mikdash dovishesh bo netilas neshama. Just as if you go into the Beis Hamikdash, when you're contaminated, you're liable to forfeit your neshama, right? Spiritual excision. Af kodesh, same thing. When it's kodesh lo siga, dovishesh bo netilas neshama. So when are you liable for that you forfeit your soul, chas v'shalom? That you've eaten truma in your tummy. So the Gemara says, uben negiya netilas neshama leka. For touching truma, it's only a lav. One that is not liable for koris. So now we have a problem. So if that's the case, so Torah say, ubechol kodesh lo tochal. Why does it say lo tigo? The word tigo means you should not touch. We're saying tigo here doesn't mean touch, it means eat. And we prove it. So if that's the case, let the Torah say, don't eat it. Why does the Torah use the term don't touch it? Hai davki b'loshen negilo. The reason why the Torah uses the term touching rather than eating, hokam negio kachilo. So Rashi says, what's negio kachilo? Ha'osa lechol osa liga. Let's say you have truma, which becomes, I'll give you a case. You have truma on Pesach, which is chametz. You're not permitted to eat it, right? What happens if you touch it and you contaminate it? It's not. It hasn't been contaminated. Are you in violation of what? Of contaminating? The answer is no. The only type of truma that you're in violation of contaminating is truma that you're permitted to eat. So since on Pesach it's chametz, the truma is chametz, you're not permitted to eat it, so you won't be in violation of contaminating it. That's why the Torah uses tigo. Tigo means achila, because the Torah juxtaposes it to going to the Beis Hamikdash. So why does it say tigo, touching? Because on what kind of truma are you liable for contaminating truma which is fit for eating? So if truma is not for eating and you contaminate, you're not in violation of anything. That's what the Gemara is saying. Yep. Let's go further. Okay, it's clear. What do you have any different? I know, but maybe you're not permitted to contaminate. Burn is one thing, because that's because of chametz. It's worse than hefker. It's not ownerable. You can't own it. It's Yisur Ha'ano. Okay. Now the Mishnah says p'tzua daka. If a person is a p'tzua daka, it says p'tzua daka liyova b'kal Hashem. Let's say he's a Kohen. He was married. He was not a p'tzua daka, and now he has a wife. So his wife's permitted to eat truma. Why? Because she's the wife of a Kohen. Correct? Now he becomes either his testicles are crushed, or his penis, actually, no, it's not severed. Not severed. It's cut. It's cut below the crown. Actually, the shank is cut. That's psuadaka. It says, so, let's say he has relations with his wife, who is permitted to eat truma. The moment he has relations with her, she becomes a chalola. That means she's having relations with a man who's not permitted to. She becomes a zona. She's not permitted to eat truma. So the Mishnah says a Kohen becomes a psuadaka after he gets married, and he didn't have relations with his wife since he has this injury. His wife could continue eating truma because she was never defiled. He never had relations with her. But what happens if he had relations with her as a psuadaka? From that moment going forward, she's not permitted to eat truma any longer. Pre-relation, she's permitted. Post-relation, she's not permitted. Okay? So that's what we're discussing. No, it's permanent. Permanent. What? His condition is permanent. Then he's not a psuadaka. Then he's not a No, even when he has it, it's not. It's an injury which is a permanent injury. Okay? Psuadaka. Mantana mishtameres labia psulo. The rice of ochlo. Here, we're saying, if he didn't yet have relations with her, since she was permitted to eat before, so she could eat until she becomes defiled. But it seems to be, even though, what is marriage? Marriage means they're meant to have relations. Even though they're still married, and she's mishtameres, and it's possible that he can have relations with her, he'll violate, it seems to be, she still can eat truma. Because we're saying, as long as he didn't have relations with her, even though she's mishtameres, she's in the context of relationship where they're connected. So if that's the case, and yet the Mishnah says, despite that, if he didn't have relations with her, she's permitted to eat. So the Gemara wants to man tanim shtres to be a psula do raisa ochlo. Amar Rabbi Loza machloka shnuya. It's stated earlier. We had this earlier. Rabbi Loza Reb Shimon. It's Rabbi Loza Reb Shimon. Remember we had the case earlier. A man marries almana l'kohen gadol. Right? So the Torah says the wife of a kohen gadol is permitted to eat truma, but she's an almana. When does she become defiled? Only when the kohen gadol has relations with her. Let's say he didn't have relations with her. So we had a machlukes before. If he didn't have relations with her, sexual relations, is she permitted to eat truma? He wasn't permitted to marry. He's a kohen gadol, and she's a widow. Or let's say kohen marries a grusha, and he didn't consummate the marriage. But it's his wife. The wife of kohen's permitted. She wasn't defiled. So we had a machlukes, Rabbi Lozer, Reb Shimon, whether she's permitted to eat truma or not. If you're of the opinion that this type of relationship is meant to come to fruition, to become consummated, then she can't eat truma, or even though factually she wasn't yet defiled. The other one says, no, it's all dependent on, are you defiled or you're not defiled? Since factually he didn't have relations with her, she could eat truma. Okay? Take a look in Rashi. He quotes the Gemara earlier. Perek habol yevimto, almonu kohen gurusha l'chalutz kohen hejid, mina erisin. Right? It was only kedushin. V'lo yochlu b'truma, Reb Lozer, Reb Shimon, machshirin. They say you're permitted. Okay? Reb Yochanan afil tim Reb Meir. Shiny hoch shekvar ochlo. See, it's tremendous. He's saying beautiful. He says the machlokas before is different machlokas. A man goes and he does kedushin. A kohen gadol does kedushin on an almana. A woman is not permitted to. You listening? The kohen marries a grusha, a divorcee who is not permitted to. So normally the wife of a kohen is permitted to eat truma. But since the nature of this marriage means it's not meant to last because he's not permitted to be with her, does that kind of wife, is she permitted to eat truma? That's the discussion earlier. Here we're talking about a man married a woman in a permitted state, and she began eating truma, right? Now he sustained an injury. So here, because she's already permitted to eat, it's different than before. Before, the initial marriage came about where she was never meant to eat truma. That's the discussion earlier. Here, this marriage was meant initially she should eat truma, and she began eating truma. So now we have a question. Now that he sustains the injury, could she continue? So Mishnah says she can continue. Why not? Because the marriage initially, what was the quality of the marriage? It was a marriage that she was meant to eat truma. Before, the quality of the marriage was she was never meant to eat truma. Because she's the wife of a kohen gadol, which she's not permitted to her, or divorcee, the wife of a kohen. That's how the Gemara wants to differentiate, okay? Afilim Rameyu, shiny hochot shkar ochlo. Reb Lozer shkar ochlo armina. Reb Lozer says does make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. Dilo temahochi bas Yisrael shenos lekoyin umes balo. He says Yeah, Rabbi Lutz says it doesn't make a difference because originally she started to eat. Why? Because you have a Bas Yisrael Shenos L'Kohen. Shenisus L'Kohen. A Bas Yisrael marries a Kohen. What's that locha? She's married to a Kohen. She's permitted Truma. What happens if the husband dies and she has no children from her husband? She has to stop eating Truma. So we see over here, even though she started to eat Truma, she's not permitted to continue. So here also say the same thing. Although she started to eat Truma before the husband sustained the injury, the moment he sustains the injury, she can't continue. Are we going to say that? A Basra is married to a Kohen, the husband dies. Are we going to say that she continues eating because she ate before? Rabbi Yochanan has no relevance. The proof he's bringing has no relevance to our case. There, a Basra is married to a Kohen, he dies, of course she can't eat. Why? Because she's no longer the wife of a Kohen. In our case, when he married her, she was permitted to eat. So the nature of marriage, she's permitted to eat. Now he sustains the injury. And she's still married to him. So of course, you know why she can continue eating? Because she's still within that same relationship that she's permitted to eat Truma. Before, when the husband dies, and she died childless, and she's a Bas Yisrael, there's no connection between them any longer. So of course, that's the reason why she has to stop eating Truma. Because she's no longer Ashes Kohen. Here, she's still Ashes Kohen. She's still the wife of a Kohen. And he hasn't yet lived with her as a P'sua Daka. So therefore, that's the reason why she's permitted to continue. That's what he says. Rabbi Yochanan Pokik in Yoneh. Over there, the acquisition, the connection was revoked. Hochla Pokik in Yoneh. Now the Gemara discusses, the Mishnah says, what is a P'sua Daka? It says either his testicles are crushed or the shank of the penis is cut. Okay, it's cut. And that affects the ejaculation. Okay? Torabona, Izupsu, Daka Koshe Niftu Beitzim Shelo. So definitely, if they totally remove the testicles, definitely is a P'sua Daka. The Niftu means they're crushed. Afilu Achsman, even one of the testicles. Afilu Nikvu. What about if they were pierced? Right? You know, this comes up, people are in battle, and a piece of shrapnel goes and injures the soldier in that part of his body. He becomes a P'sua Daka. Right? The testicle wasn't removed, it was just pierced with a piece of metal. Bafil Nimuku, what about it happens as a result of a disease, the testicle actually deteriorates and it becomes liquefied. The whole texture, the testicle loses its form. Afil Chosru, sometimes the body absorbs it. Person has only one testicle, one testicle, he doesn't have two testicles. Amr Bishmol B'dosh Rabbi Yochanan Baroka Shemati B'I Chachomim B'Kerem B'Yavne. Rabbi Shmuel the son of Rabbi Yochanan Baroka says, I heard from the Chachomim in Kerem B'Yavne, Kol She'en Lo Beitza Achas Ene Lo Soris Chamo. The kosher, he's considered a Soris Chamo. Soris Chamo means it says he's a Soris Chamo, the kosher. Soris Chamo, so Elo Harehu Kis Soris Chamo. It's not comparable. The kosher. What happened? What's a Soros Chamo? Where's this? Soros Chamo b'dei Shemaim. The difference between a person becomes, the word is a eunuch. You know, in the olden days, a person who was a minister in the king, they used to castrate him because they didn't want him to have to do with the king's harem. So if you wanted to work in that capacity, to officiate, they were all eunuchs. Now, how did he lose his masculinity? He was castrated. What if a person, he has some kind of disease, and as a result of the disease, naturally, the testicle deteriorates, right? Not due to an external cause. That's called Soros Cham. That's Bidei Shemaim. Soros Cham, God caused it to happen. If it's unnatural, then that you classify as a P'sua Daka. But if it's natural, he was born that way, with one testicle, he's what? He's valid. So if he loses a testicle due to injury, that's a P'sua Daka. But if he's born with a testicle, he has one disease and one of the testicles deteriorate, he's not a P'sua Daka. P'sua Daka. Right, that's what he says. Right? Somar says, Eino el the Soros Chama kor Soros Chama el harik Soros Chama v'kosher. So he says, Hosoros Chama b'dei Shemaim machmas choli v'aylav choli hu. Hosoros Chama lo osa Torah ela P'sua v'doch ukrus. He says, no. He's arguing. He's saying, The first person said even one testicle is considered a psuadaka. He says no. One testicle not. Two testicles, yes. One testicle not. One testicle is the equivalent of the person losing where the testicle is damaged due to some kind of illness, which is not a psuadaka. Okay? V'nikiv, somewhere else, v'nikiv lo moled, we said that even if the testicle is pierced, is a psuadaka. Why is a psuadaka not considered, not permitted to marry a regular Jewess? Because he can't father a child. Here, because he can't. Somewhere asks, but it says if he doesn't have a testicle is one thing, but over here it says even if the testicle is pierced. Somewhere says you mean say if the testicle is pierced he can't father a child. Vahu gavra the solikul diklo. This person was climbing a palm tree. The charze silu bebeitzim. You hear this? And one of the pines pierced his testicle as he was climbing the tree. And as a result of that, the testicle, there was like pus that was oozing from where the wound took place. And he was able to father a child afterwards. So the Gemara says, so how could you tell me if the testicle is pierced? He assumes it's the status of psuadaka. We have an incident. The reason of psuadaka not because he can't father a child, because he can't ejaculate. Here, this man, he had his testicle pierced, and he was able to father a child. So you know what he says? So Shmuel says, you know something, his wife may have given birth, but you had to find out who fathered that child. Meaning, if the testicles pierced, he cannot father a child. But he had a child. The answer is he's not the father of the child. So Shmuel said, go check and make sure and verify from where he came. It's interesting, you know. Shmuel's a doctor. The Gemara Shabbos, he was a very famous doctor, Shmuel. So they tell, no, Shmuel Damora, Rav and Shmuel in the Gemara. He was a doctor. And it says in the Brisa that if the testicles pierce, you can't father the child. He says, what do you mean? There was an incident. You know, you talk to the man who understands what fertility is. You know, the man is, besides the Brisa, he says, you better check it out. There's no way. If he has a pierced testicle, he's not fathering a child. It says even one. He was saying it's not he's not the father. That's what he's saying. No, there's a difference if he has one testicle or he has a damaged testicle. There's a difference. If he's born that way, it's not a problem. If he has a testicle removed, it's a different problem. Because if he's born that way, that's called natural. Anything which is natural works. If it's injured or something happens externally, the process is disrupted, then it's a problem. Yeah. Here, he says, if it's psuadak b'dei shamayim, if it came due to a disease, he's valid. He's not an illegitimate. He says, v'lo karina haptsua. Here, it says psuadaka. What's the connotation? Haptsuadaka means the. That means he was always. Psuadaka means he became. The way it's written in the Torah, it's indicated it's not something he was born with. Omar behind the Karina psuadaka lo haptsua. Masis tona nemar v'lo yovel ptsua. It says lo yovel psuadaka b'kal Hashem. Person who is injured, his testicles were crushed, the shank is cut. V'nemar lo yovel mamzer. Right? It says all the things that are lo yovos. It's parshas kiseitze. Mal halom b'dei odom, avkam b'dei odom. Now, how does a person become a mamzer? Doesn't happen by itself, right? A person has to commit adultery or incest. So just as that came through a human act, Similarly, the tzedakah has to come through an external act. It's not something that comes natural. So that's, he says, we don't need from the hay. Yep. Omar Rova Ptsua Bekulon. Doch Bekulon. Krus Bekulon. Ptsua Bekulon. Now, he says, when it says it's crushed or whatever it is, Bekulon. 1 second. It seems to be both testicles have to be crushed. Bekulon. Krus bekulon. They're cut. Ptsuad bekulon. Bein shenivtza agid, bein shenivtza beitzim. Whether the shank is cut, whether the testicles are cut or crushed. Bein shenivtzu chutei beitzim. Hear this. What's niftzu chutei beitzim? The testicles, they're in the scrotum. But the testicles are attached. They're sinews or whatever you call them, attaching it to the body. Let's say those are severed, but they're still in the pouch, in the scrotum. That's psuadaka. Right? That's the chutim. Beishnitzu chutei beitzim. How does he interpret chutei? The fibers of the testicles. Testicle cords. Okay. Doch bekulam eshenidach hagid beishenidchu beitzim. What about the gid is crushed? It's not cut. It's crushed, or the testicles are cut. Beishenidchu chutei beitzim. Korus bekulan beishenichras hagid beishenichrasu beitzim. The penis is cut off, or the testicles are removed. Beishenichrasu chutei beitzim. They're cut. How do you know psuadaka means? It means the male organ in that area. Maybe it means, when it says mirosha, does it mean the tip of the penis, or does it mean, because we said the tip itself is not a problem if that's cut. It's only if the penis itself is cut, the shank. How does he explain mirosho? Amy mirosho. How does he explain the mirosho? It doesn't mean his head, his skull. His skull was crushed. How does he interpret that mirosho from his head? What's his head? His skull. It's similar to skull because it says osamokam. Hadop tsuadaka means the penis, that area maybe means his skull. Omalei midlo monach be monobedoros. Shmamnu bosamokam. Hear this? Because he has no offspring. If it has his head, what does it have with offspring? Medloch sivebe ad dor shlishi. Hear this? Or asiri. It says by mamzer. Mamzer can never marry into Jewish people. Hear this? Listen. Even the 10th generation. So that means a mamzer, he's able to father a child. So we say the defect of mamzer carries on. Why doesn't it say that? It says just L'yova sudak b'kal Hashem. If he's able to father, if it means a crushed skull, person has a crushed skull could father a child. So it should also say even the 10th generation. So why by mamzer say the 10th generation? That means he's fathered children. He could have a 10th generation. Tzudaka doesn't speak about he has any generations. So evidently, if he doesn't have a generation, we're not talking about a person has a crushed skull. Tzudaka means that the male organ is damaged and he can't father a child. Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah, Ephraim. Mercy is very simple. There's no proof from that. See, mamzer is a defect. It's not a physical defect. It's a spiritual defect. This person, why was he not permitted to marry? Because he has a physical defect. So maybe he could father a child. He could father a child. We're talking about suadaka means he has a crushed skull. For whatever reason, a person with a crushed skull cannot marry a regular woman. But let's say he violates it. And he has a child. He can have a child. So he could have 10 generations. Right? What's the reason? Because the child he's going to have is born without a crushed skull. Right? He can't marry because he has a mamzer carries in 10th generation. But if the disqualification is the crushed skull, what kind of child? Because he has a crushed skull, his son's going to be born with a crushed skull. Has no relevance to it. That's the reason why it doesn't say even the 10th generation. That's what Mary asks. V'dilma haidlo monadoras dihu doser breu babre kosher. But his son and his grandson are permitted. Dumyo de krushovcho. More answer because it's similar to krushovcho. Ma krushovcho bosamokom afhai nami bosamokom. It speaks of ptsua dako and krushovcho. What does korus mean? Krus means it cut and it spills out. Ukrushovcho. Gufe min mai bosamoku emo misvosei. Shavcho, yeah? Maybe misvosei. Maybe it means, you know what it means? A person has a drooling problem. How do you know krushovcha means it's the penis is cut, right? Maybe it means, shavcha means it pours out. Maybe he has a problem with a drooling problem. His mouth has a certain defect, and the saliva drips out of his mouth. He drools. Shavcha ksiv mokshe shofech. Something which naturally runs. So what, the penis, there's liquid always flowing out of the penis. Therefore, it's there, and it's not the mouth. Yeah, maybe it's his nose. A person you always have fluids coming out of your nose. The mouth, even if you have saliva, doesn't come out of your mouth. Miksiv bishvoch. It doesn't say when it flows. Krus shavchoksiv. Mishai, they kreise shofech. It's only the reason why the sperm is like flowing out, or the urine is just dripping out because it's cut. Right? They kreise shofech. Shloye they kreise eine shofech. Ele mekaleach. Hear this. A person doesn't have a damaged penis. When he urinates, it goes in the stream. What happens if it's cut? Then it just spills out. Doesn't go in a stream. Lafugi hai DVD shofech, but a nose, right? A nose, it always runs out. A person has a running nose. What, it comes in a stream, drips out. Okay? Or a person has a drooling problem. It's not a stream. It drips out the saliva. Meaning, how does a mamzer come about? A person did a sexual act. So just over there, it's referring to the sexual act. When it said lo yavel mamzer, what does that mean? To engage in the sexual act, which means the male organ. Here also, when it says psuadaka, it also means the male organ. Nikev lamata mi'atorah. Shekenegdo lamala mi'atorah. Sover abchia baraba lachshurei. Omale Ravasi Yochim Torah Koshi Makevis. Okay, we'll stop here.